What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today, BTC USD. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, you guys. It is the 12th day of January. Here we are sitting at about $91,000 with roughly 8.5 hours left in the day. It's a brand new week. We're actually opening up this week here. We've got 6 days, 8.5 hours left in this week. It's a brand new week. We closed last week pretty neutral. I know we went all the way up to about 95K and then came back down, closing the week at 91K. But yesterday, when we closed that week, that was 2 weeks in a row that we've closed above the zone that we've been held down by over the past like 6 weeks. So I still think that's an improvement. That's still validating to the idea that we broke out, that we're consolidating, we're about to break further, break out of this whole range as a whole, not just this lower portion of it. Still, though, I think that that's a good close there. This week, a little bit of volatility so far to the downside and to the upside. Hopefully we can maintain this and continue to move up. My thoughts are, just looking at this here, I do not expect that we go lower really at all. I don't think that we go below this low, but even if we do, if we were to go lower, I don't expect that we'd go below this low. It's completely possible that we could go below this low or even below this low. It's completely possible, but I don't think that we'd go below this low. I'm not expecting that we come to the downside. I'm just saying if it were to happen, that might be what it looks like. We see some type of significantly lower low than where we are from here, but nothing that would be lower than this low. But my expectation, just looking at this for what it is that we will move up and break out because we found resistance in this area once, twice, 3 times, even 4 times. And the 3 subsequent times before this, we found a harsh rejection here. We found a harsh rejection here. This rejection took us down basically where we are now. It's almost like the same kind of move, but we were a little bit lower. In other words, this is the weakest rejection here at this point that we've seen, the weakest rejection that we've seen so far. And it's the only time that we've actually found support at prior resistance like we're doing now. So I think, with those differences, different behavior begets different results. I think that we will break out to the upside. If we were watching the price come down and it bounced off a level really hard, and then it bounced off a level again really hard, okay, you might think this is a double bottom. But if it comes back down and it bounces off that same level again and it's weak, or bounces off it again and it's even weaker, if you're getting these weaker and weaker bounces, you would expect that you break out to the side that's giving you the weak bounces, right? That's typically what like a descending triangle looks like, or a wedge. It's the same thought to the upside. If we're getting strong rejections here, a stronger rejection here than what we have here, a strong rejection here, and this is the weakest rejection we've seen so far, the idea might be that, hey, we are in a ascending triangle and we might break out to the upside. That's the thought. That's the thought. 1 hour time frame here, if we're looking at this, the volume's coming in. A little bit of BART action. I wouldn't call that a BART. I mean, maybe. If we look at it on a 15-minute time frame, maybe. Nah, not really. Kind of, right? It's acting the same way. You know what I mean when I say a little pump and dump action. We've seen that happen a few times. Definitely market makers pushing the prices around, trying to shake people out in either way. Anybody who's leverage trading is probably either getting creamed or they're, I don't know. There's you can make money in moments like this leverage trading, but you have to be concise in seizing the moment when it happens. I don't know. I would assume most people making or leverage trading right now are probably not doing it the right way though. 91.2K. If we're looking at this here, building volume at the lows, I don't think that we go lower. We had this kind of flat base, right? We saw this slightly lower low, and now we're reversing with pretty good momentum to the upside and good volume here as well. I would think that we continue to move up. I mean, you can see here we're in this like higher low, higher high kind of trend overall. I think we'll move up, and we're probably going to get away from this like boring bit here. I don't expect that we'll see too much price action that looks like this, right? This was over the weekend. This was Friday after the stock market closed, Saturday all the way to Sunday actually, before like really the futures markets even opened. That whole time frame right there. So now that we're not in that, now that it's Monday, it's the beginning of a new business week, I don't think that we'll see price action like this. We'll probably see more consistent behavior like this moving up, and I do expect that we move up. Looking at the indicators, the 1 hour RSI is pretty neutral, but it's bullish overall, absolutely. Stochastics are bullishly implied, and the MACD is in a bullish posturing as well right now. 4 hour time frame The 4-hour MACD is interesting. We do have bullish do we have bullish divergence? Technically, no. Technically, no bullish divergence, but the bearish momentum's dying off. The bullish momentum is building. And we look like we're about to cross above this 0 level here today, probably. If not today, I'd be very surprised, but then tomorrow. So sometime between today and tomorrow, we should see a nice move. I think we're seeing it now, probably. The RSI is bouncing off the 50. The stochastics are weird, but you've got weird price action, so that's fine. I mean, overall, you're very bullish on the RSI. I would say overall you are in a bullish posturing with the stochastics as well. And the MACD, the only thing really to go off of is crossing above the 0, and that's a pretty big deal. It's on the 4-hour time frame. 4 hours is pretty significant in itself. It's not the most significant time frame, but still, I think crossing above the 0 there would be enough to kickstart a move that takes us above 95K here. We get above 95K, you guys. We're breaking out of this range altogether, and then we're moving up to prices that are well above 100K, likely. We look at the daily time frame, and we're bouncing off the 50 on the RSI. We're maintaining these higher lows on the RSI. Could we close today to the downside? Could we move down and bounce off this RSI or off this trend line? Yes, we could. Do we have to? No, we don't. No, we don't. Right. Overall, very positive looking RSI here. We look at the stochastics bouncing off the 50. This is classic. This is very bullish. I like it. It looks great. And the MACD has crossed above the 0. And sometimes with the MACD, it's kind of important to pay attention because there's two reactions that you can have with the 0, right? This is the second type of reaction. The first reaction is something probably like what we saw here. Let's see. Let's go back here. Yeah. You cross above the 0 and you just pop immediately. You have a nice surge immediately, right? There's another type of reaction like this one where you're moving up, you're getting above the 0. That's nice. It's consistent, right? But you kind of consolidate first. You're coming back down, and then the big move happens, right? You see that you're crossing above the 0, you're back testing for support, and then you get your pop. That's when the move happens. Not when you're crossing above the 0, but when you're validating it as support. And I think that's what we're seeing here. We crossed above the 0. This wasn't a huge move. This wasn't like a pop, I wouldn't say. It's nice, from the base of this range to the upper side of this range, it's nice. We crossed above the 0. Now we're kind of consolidating. The oscillators are coming back together. I'm assuming then that the next move that's coming will be both faster and bigger than the last move that we saw. Which, given our fib targets, that's pretty easy to deduce that we would, probably see a move that is bigger than what we saw here. But let's just, for funsies, let's measure this from a low to a high here. And if we were to do this here, that move would take us up to 98K. In the same reference of the MACD, this move versus this move, look at how much bigger and faster this move was, right? From a low to a high versus here from a low to a high, right? I mean, you went up, it was a significant difference. It's not going to equate to the same ratio here, but assuming that it's a bigger move, we would at least stop at about 101K. If not, at most, go up to the golden ratio and stop somewhere around 106 to 110K. And this is where I think we're going to go. I don't think that we're going to stop at 101K. I don't think that we're going to stop in this area. It is possible. We do have the 50-week moving average there. There's the 0.5. There's other fibs that line up there, and there's prior support here and prior support here. It makes a lot of sense to find resistance there. But if I'm right, we might check here for like a day. We might see some volatility and then just blast right through it. Or we just blast right through it. We pay no respect to that zone at all. But I think we're going to go in short time, definitely by the end of this month, probably within the next 10 days to 2 weeks, we will be, even if not even by the end of this week, we'll be at 106 to 110K. That's my expectation. But I've got nothing else to say. I think I've said everything I need to say. There's really nothing else worth talking about, is there? There probably is. I'm just missing it. Stochastics look great. The stochastics on the weekly time frame are getting me really, really freaking excited. The RSI as well. The MACD doesn't look as hot, but whatever. You have lower lows in your MACD with higher lows in your price. It's hidden bullish divergence. I want everyone to remember, because right now it might not seem as obvious, But whenever we are up here, I want you all to remember what it feels like to be in these moments, what it feels like, and how the outcome resulted, right? A lot of people, for the predominant part of this zone, were calling for prices below 70K. A lot of people, novices, professional analysts, people who I respect and I regard their TA, but I just disagreed with them. And that's okay. You can disagree with people. Don't have to be enemies for it, but there's a lot of quote unquote sense to make out of going down here. But the main reason, the most compelling evidence I, as an analyst in this space, had to believe that we would not go lower is the simple fact of contrarianism peppered with the very fundamental fact that this was a higher macro low, right? Contrarianism. The public view was that we were going to plummet, that we were in a bear market. Everybody got on board that we were in a bear market these last 2 weeks of the drop. Every single person, the majority of them got on board on that very last week. People sold out of crypto entirely down here. It's crazy. And all we had was a higher low. I've never seen it before. That's great. If, by the way, if you're selling before you take out that low, like if you're selling here, you're selling at some of the highest parts of the bull market, right? But before we really get started on our bear market, that's great. Most people don't do that. No, most people, and that's what really gave me the compelling evidence that I needed to believe that we weren't in a bear market, is that most people are out before the dump happened. Doesn't seem right to me. That doesn't seem right to me. No, in prior bull markets, whenever the bear market's starting, everybody here was shouting, we're going to run to 100K, here we go. The majority of people were not sidelined. That's for damn sure. They didn't sideline themselves until here, right? And that's the whole point. That's what made us bullish there, was that that people were sidelined. They're sidelined now, and we have a higher low. We have the highest levels of fear that we've had throughout this whole bull market, the highest levels of fear in our fear and greed index. I don't care what tool you're using, that was here. And it was a higher low. Nope. Nope. I never for one moment, maybe I had like a 1% to a 5% chance of doubt that we could go down here, but I never really had a moment where I was convinced that that would happen. My conviction is to the upside, and it has been for a very long time. And again, I invite you all, even if you were bearish, if you weren't bullish, even if you were bullish, whatever, I invite you all to remember the state of the space, the state of the psychology, the sociology of the space. I invite you to remember these metrics that we've seen in these moments like this, because it was pretty convincing maybe to the average person that we were in a bear market at this point. I probably seem like a crazy person saying that we're still in a bull market. Yes, we broke below the 50-week moving average, we're still in a bull market. Maybe I'll have a bunch of egg on my face and we'll drop through the floor from here. But I don't think so. I invite you to remember the state of the space, so that whenever we're at the next higher low, you don't freak out and panic like a lot of people did here at this low, like everybody did here at this low, like people did here at this low and this low, right? It's the same story the whole way through. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.